KJ, how you doing?
I'm great, man. How you doing? It's good to be on the show.
Oh, I'm doing amazing. It's insane. It's exciting to have you on the show. I'm a really big fan of your game, just the person you are. So really thank you so much for doing this, taking your time. Means a lot. Thank you.
Of course, man. Appreciate it. I'm excited.
I also got to give a huge shout out to the legend himself, Brandon, for hooking this up. Brandon's been so good to me, so nice. He's an awesome guy.
That's one of my best friends, my brothers. I'm super proud of him. He just got his first client, and first client, first round. So I'm super proud of him and of his hard work.
Yes, he's amazing. So your off season's been pretty busy so far. In March, you re-signed with the Commanders, which I'm pumped to see. I'm sure Commanders fans are pumped to see. Where are you hanging out in the off season until the season starts getting going?
Yeah, so I'll be here in like Ashburn, DC area. Here for OTAs. Just kind of getting back acquainted with the team, the playbook now. Being here for a full season now, which I'm really excited about. Get a full off season with the team, and then when I'm not here, I'm doing a lot of traveling. So mostly kind of home base in Miami, where I went to school at after Buffalo, and that's pretty much home for me. After in the off season, but I do a lot of traveling now.
Where in Miami?
We kind of everywhere. Sometimes we right in the city. So I do some training up in Fort Lauderdale too. I would just say kind of just everywhere in South Florida. I'm moving around a lot. We do a lot of things.
I love Miami. Florida's so nice. The weather,
Of course,
it's so good.
of
Anyway,
course.
so KJ, you were drafted to the Vikings in 2020 in the same draft class as Justin Jefferson. And by 2021, you were starting alongside him and Adam Thielen. And together, you three did big things. What an incredible trio you were. How excited are you to develop something similar with you, Terry McLaurin, and Debo Samuel?
Man, it's super exciting. I actually just spoke to JJ today. We're just kind of chopping it up, but my time in Minnesota was great. We learned so much from Adam. He came in, took us under his wing immediately. Of course, Justin Jefferson had immediate success, and it hasn't really stopped. So to be able to play along, with those two guys was really really special. And now coming to the Commanders, very quickly. I've seen how special Terry was. My locker was placed next to him last year when I got here, and we started building, and just being able to see his game up close now. I always watched it from afar. It's been really special to see. Debo, obviously a really great player, someone I've known for a couple years now. Coming over from San Francisco, so just to be in that room with a bunch of other guys as well. And we led by a really good coach in Bobby Ingram. I'm really excited about it, and it's good to go to work with those guys every day.
Fans are very excited about it as well. That receiver core in Minnesota was really good, but this one in Washington is looking really good too. You think you guys have what it takes to be better than the one in Minnesota?
I mean, it's not like putting like so much numbers to
Oh yeah,
it
of course, of
at the end
course.
of the day, but I think something that we always say in our room is like the plays go through us, and that's on any team. To be honest, like the plays go through the receivers. They pay us to obviously catch the ball and score touchdowns and things like that. But we create the big plays, we create the energy in the building, and that's something that receivers live for. So we were able to do that in Minnesota. And hopefully we'll be able to do that in in Washington, which we already have. This has been Terry's room. He's been lighting it up. So hopefully myself, Debo, and everyone else that we have in the room, we can contribute to that because ultimately the goal is to win a Super Bowl. So hopefully we can do that.
Play big, score big, selly big. You know it.
You feel me?
So another similarity that I was looking at that your team in Washington has to back in Minnesota is you got another great quarterback. You play with veteran Kirk Cousins, all the experience he brings. But now it's a little bit different though, because you're playing with Jayden Daniels, who's a younger quarterback, very mobile, just sensational. He's got ridiculous talent. It must be exciting for you to get a chance to play with such a young superstar. How excited are you to develop such a good connection with him?
I mean, I'm really excited. I'm really excited. That was one of the reasons. Obviously, I would like to sign back to, get a chance to play with a really good quarterback like that, a great quarterback. Really good kid. Works really hard, which is something I admire about him. And he's special. So to be able to have a quarterback like that, leading our team. That's something I want to be a part of.
I've been watching some of your film and also some of Daniels's film, and I've noticed that some of the throws that Jayden loves to make are to the routes that you love to run. Those quick throws over the middle, the slants, the out routes, the bubble screens that you run so effectively because of your great route running. And just additionally, on the other side, we all know how well Daniels throws them. So is this something that any quarterback can do, or is this something that another aspect of the game that Daniels is just so elite at?
I mean, I think he's a lead at a lot of things, and I think that just takes time and chemistry. But if anything, to answer the question, I think that he's great at a lot of things. But hopefully, we can continue that chemistry of the things that I'm good at, and Cliff, he puts me in situations where that's I'm able to help the team in that way, or whatever the way I do have to the team would like me to contribute. But obviously that would be great, and that's a really good find by you, by the types of passes and throws that Jayden makes versus the routes that I've run and I'm kind of excelled at in Minnesota, like you said, going across the middle, things like that. So hopefully that can continue.
Yeah, I just mentioned how great of a route runner you are, the strong hands that you have. Just there's multiple facets to your game. But if I had to ask you like the most underrated part of your game, you have to give an answer that people don't notice as much as other aspects, but you feel is there. What would you give as an underrated skill?
I would probably say like the mental part of the game, like reading coverages, being able to play at different spots, like outside, play inside, XZ, F. And that's how I'm able to catch, passes over the middle, catching them in zones, not running through zones, keeping it open. You have to do that type of stuff in the slot where it's not always just man to man coverage. You're kind of beating the guy, you're reading linebackers, you're reading safeties, things like that, and you're doing it on the run. I think that is an underrated part of my game as well as communication. Because I know all the positions. Football. We always got to communicate out there. Receivers. It's very loud, especially at the away games. Just being able to communicate and kind of direct traffic out there, which a lot of people don't really see.
Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I did see a lot of routes where you'd be running a slant and you'd see a opening and you just stop and you wait there and the ball will come to you. That's big time heads up play. Every quarterback loves that, I'm sure.
Mhm.
So I recently had another wide receiver on my show, Buffalo Bills Josh Palmer. And I
Mhm.
asked him if there's one guy that he hates to go up against, like a cornerback, someone
Yeah.
who gives him some trouble.
Mhm.
And I wanted to ask you the same type of question. Is there a guy in the league that either gives you trouble or maybe gives you some more motivation to push and just go all out?
Right. No, I wouldn't say there's a particular player that I'm that kind of keeps me up at night or anything like that. But it's the NFL, so every time you step on the grass, just on the opposite side, I always say those guys get paid too. So I'm always excited to go out there and perform and compete. Um, and it's fun. But I wouldn't say there's one specific guy or anything like that. I mean, it's NFL, everybody's good. So just I'm excited every week.
No one's too big for you. You're able to
Right.
stand them up, hit them down. So I was thinking about it. I cannot have KJ Osborn on the show and not talk about maybe the craziest comeback in NFL history. You were with the Vikings. You guys were down 33-0 in the third quarter when you popped off 10 catches, 157 yards, touchdown. The team came scorching back, made it 36 all heading into overtime, and you guys won it 39-36.
Yeah.
Just how incredible was it for you guys to be able to complete that insane comeback against the Colts, and especially for you to be to be such an amazing factor in that game and just totally show out.
Yeah, that was huge, man. That was definitely one of the highlights of my career. For sure, like my best career game thus far statistically. Biggest comeback in NFL history. We won the NFC North. I believe we clinched it that night. It was a Saturday, so it was somewhat of a prime time game. So that was a big day. Um, we were down 33-0 at halftime to a team that we felt like we were better than, and they weren't really beating us. We were beating ourselves, with penalties, with turnovers, special teams, things like that. And, so we just had to lock in and, play our best ball and kind of just play one play at a time. And, as we seen that the momentum started to kind of swing back our way, we just we ran through the door with it, and we didn't really have a lot of time to for many more errors. But at that point, I was just trying to do what I could to help my team win. There was a point there where JJ had went down, so I had moved to X. So I started to get so a lot of more targets from being in the spot that JJ was at. JJ came back. I started doing really good. I was hot. JJ came back. He was doing some things. Dalvin had a big screen for a touchdown. The defense was getting stops. So the momentum started swinging our way, and the ball was finding me. I was doing well, and I definitely heated up, and that's definitely a mode that I would love to be in again. That was a really fun game, and I got that jersey on my wall downstairs. Career game and things like that. That was a big night, so that was fun.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of the time when teams are getting, especially good teams, when they're getting beat up big, it's usually not the other team. It's usually themselves just getting closed in. Leadership is super important in that department to be able. Someone's got to step up. Was there someone who stepped up and really helped you guys lead and like get back in there and understand that you guys got this?
I think it was a team effort. I wouldn't be able to, pinpoint just a certain guy just because we're down 33-0. So it was stuff from the offense, stuff from defense, special teams. I do remember, I believe Pat Pete, he had came in. He said we just got to score 5 touchdowns. We just got to score 5 touchdowns, and we did that. But yeah, I think it was everybody just taking accountability. Like, okay, we were only too much looking at the scoreboard, but at the same time we started playing for some pride. It was 33-0. But when we did start to come back, we're like, okay, we can win this, and it happened. So we made history. So that was pretty cool.
So last question, KJ. So towards the beginning of your career, you were big into kickoff returns. You did it a lot, and I was just curious, like why don't you return kickoffs anymore? Is that a preferable choice? Is that something you chose to do, or was it just naturally happened?
It just kind of naturally happened just because my role on offense increased so much. My second year, I was a full time, starting slot. So I think they just kind of took me off special teams, just, for taking some hits off my body and, to be ready for offense, that first offensive play from kick return and punt return. So I think it kind of stemmed from there. But even in practice, when I was in Minnesota, in New England, even here with Washington, I still catch punts. I still, I practice it all. So, I still have all that. It's just I'm just not really called to do it right now, just because of my role on offense. But anything is possible.
Do you still feel like you could be a top returner in the game?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I think I would say my rookie year, I didn't have much success. Doing it. That was my first time, returning NFL. I had a lot of success in college, and I think that was one of the things that helped get me drafted. So again, just my role before I was able to, kind of, get back at it. My role on offense just increased so much that, they just kind of took me off. So that's kind of why I stopped doing it. Yeah.
Makes sense. I get that. So KJ, thank you so much for taking the time joining me today on Jake's Takes. It was just an honor, so much fun. I know I enjoyed. Did you enjoy our time together?
Yeah, for sure, man. And keep grinding. I see you got some pretty good interviews on your page. So continue to keep working hard, and shoot, maybe I'll see you on the big screen one day.